let's go look for lemongrass here. This is what I'll be using. I think 2 is enough. Yeah. Hey lovely family, welcome back to the channel. Na with me is a mug of tea. See those things that look like leaves up on ndani? That's the lemongrass that I've just added on my tea. And since I swapped milk from my breakfast, nowadays you just take lemon tea, a little bit of tea leaves, and then you boil it with the lemongrass inside. If I had ginger, I would probably also include ginger in it, just for the flavor and it always gives a certain vibe, and I enjoy it. I really like it. Sometimes I do cocoa or drinking chocolate, but most times this is my go-to. And when you see me with it, guys, niko na chai. For real. Niko na chai. So anyway, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about something that's very important for us, because we are emotional beings, and anything that contributes to our emotions, especially that contributes to us uplifting our spirits, uplifting our mood, and just enhancing our vibe altogether, is something good for us. And that's why I resorted to lemongrass, because lemongrass has some of those beautiful benefits that it gives us. We have things to do with mood stabilization. It is also related to cardiovascular health, where it has those properties of reducing bad cholesterol from your system. It also aids in digestion. It's also good in reducing high blood pressure, though there is more study that is needed in this area so that we can understand, especially when it comes to cardiovascular health. But for the mood, guys, I cannot testify to it because I've been having it for a while now, and for real, it has that calming effect, actually contributes to mood stabilization and reducing anxiety and those types of things. So, which brings us to the topic of the day, which is food and mood. We are going to unpack how the food that you eat, your diet in general, contributes to your mood. Sometimes you may wake up feeling well, energized, yeah, or sometimes you just feel a little bit odd, huna mood, and sometimes it may have been caused by things that are happening to you. But I want you to maybe consider this other side of it. What if part of the answer isn't just in what's going on in your mind, but what's going on in your plate? And that's exactly what we are talking about today. So, in as much as we talk about food and its nutrients and how it nourishes our body, we are not going to leave behind the fact that food also contributes to us having steady mind. And if you have a steady mind, if you are calm, if you feel relaxed and in a good mood, it's part of being healthy, because you can go ahead and take all these precautions to ensure that you don't maybe suffer from chronic illnesses. But we understand that some diseases are beyond your control, especially where genetics is concerned and you are exposed to the triggers. So those are some of the things that are beyond, but of course manageable if you are willing to go down that direction. We also have those situations where you being considerate about what's on your plate will also contribute to you having a good state of mind. When it comes to mental health, what role does food play to ensure that our moods are stabilized and we are feeling calm, and we are also just doing well as far as our emotions and mood is concerned? Now, let's first understand the connection between the food that you eat and brain activity, because your diet provides the essential building blocks for brain function and neurotransmitter synthesis. This is just essentially the connection between your brain and your body. Let's go back to the science we learned in class 4, class 5. whatever it is. We have the five senses. We have sight, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. Now, by the time your mood changes, there's a high chance that you've either had something, you've seen something, or your body has reacted to something in a certain way. And believe me not, food has a major role that it plays when it comes to these things. Now, when you hear about things like serotonin, serotonin is a happy hormone. I think it's called the feel good hormone that contributes to mood stabilization and other processes in the body that essentially just enhance your mood. This serotonin doesn't just work on its own, it has to be synthesized, it has to be produced when it's supposed to be produced. The whole goal of you having a stable mood is to make sure that the stress hormone is low and the happy hormones are high. Stress hormones include adrenaline and cortisol. Now, of course, if these hormones are high, automatically the happy hormones go on the low. And if the happy hormones are on the high, cortisol and these other stress hormones drop, meaning whatever we eat actually contributes greatly to how your mood is. Of course, we won't separate the fact that other things that are outside ourselves contribute to us feeling a certain way. But for you to actually come back to balance is the goal. How long does it take you to bounce back to your normal self after something bad has happened, or after something good has happened, or essentially just behaving on equilibrium, because you don't want to be extremely happy and you also don't want to be extremely sad. What condition do we call when someone is extremely happy? Probably they'll say you've lost your mind or something. I don't know. Something like that. But again, if you are extremely sad, I think that's what breeds depression, anxiety, and all those things that contribute to you having a low vibration in general. Now, after hearing this, knowing this in mind, we know that we have foods that when you take these foods, you're going to contribute to these happy hormones, the likes of serotonin, to be produced in abundance and also just to help the body regulate these emotions. Anytime your brain gets information about something, then because of how balanced your hormones are, there is a high chance that it's also going to help you process that particular information well, or particular situation in a better way. Okay, the distraction that I face, why? You'll never know how many times maybe nimeshinda nikipause hii video, because every time mara sijui ni nani, mara sijui who has come to ask for sijui nini. But anyway, ndio life. So I want us to think about it this way. 90% of serotonin, which is the feel-good hormone, is produced in the gut. Meaning, a poor diet that is heavy on sugar, processed foods, high in fat, too much caffeine can actually throw your gut bacteria out of balance, leading to fatigue, anxiety, and even mood swings. On the other side, a nourishing diet that is rich in complex carbohydrates, whole foods, fiber, omega-3s, contributes to improving your emotional resilience, meaning these foods contribute to your gut bacteria thriving well. These bacteria that helps that gut-brain connection work effectively. So you come to realize that this is not just about nutrition, it's about the care that you give your body through the food that you get. This is to say that your brain and your gut is in constant communication. When your gut is happy, your brain feels balanced. But when your gut is inflamed, imbalanced, of course, your mood is going to be thrown off. Now, with me is a list of 5 nutrients here and their roles in contributing to our mood stabilization, or let's say emotional balance in the body in general. And then we're also going to highlight the sources that you can find in, and which will now build up what should include in your menu or what should include in your meal plan. Yeah, we are going to start with the B vitamins. We have vitamin B6, B9, and B12. These nutrients are cofactors when it comes to the synthesis of these neurotransmitters that contribute to mood stabilization. These neurotransmitters are dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. Yeah, so these are the neurotransmitters that contribute to happiness in the body, and meaning a deficiency in these nutrients will, of course, contribute to you having the risk of depression. And I'm not quite sure what is included in antidepressants. Maybe this is a conversation that I need to have with people in mental health so that we can understand. Are these antidepressants just nutrients put in concentrated forms, or are they, or exactly what are they? What are the sources of these vitamins? We have green leafy vegetables, legumes, fish, poultry, eggs, dairy products, bananas, and even whole grains, because whole grains in general are rich in the vitamin B complex. So if you have to make sure that your diet has more of whole grains than refined grains, because in fact refining as a method of food processing contributes to us losing a number of these nutrients. So the more whole you find your food, the more likely it is you're going to find these nutrients in their abundance. The next nutrient we'll talk about is omega-3 fatty acid. Now, when it comes to the omega-3 fatty acids, these are essential in building brain cell membranes and reducing neuroinflammation, which means that if you have neuroinflammation is actually a contributing factor to mood disorders, and many things may contribute to this inflammation. But if your brain is healthy, because of course there are these nutrients that it's going to pick to make sure that its health is in a good state, so that the signaling pathways are in perfect condition and that the body can process information well and release the right hormones when it comes to ensuring that our moods are stabilized. And the sources include, these are oily fish. You can find it in salmon, sardines, that is omena in general. You can also find it in nuts and seeds. So any type of nuts that are available is good in omega-3 fatty acids, and the seeds. You have sesame seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, and then for the nuts, ground nuts, yeah, walnuts, tree nuts, any type of nuts that you may think of is also good in omega-3 fatty acids. And then the next nutrient is tryptophan. Tryptophan is an essential amino acid, and because of it being an amino acid, we know that its source is majorly from proteins. Your body can't produce these amino acids. We have some amino acids that your body can produce, and so you don't really need to get them from food sources, but we have those essential amino acids that the body needs to obtain from the diet that you eat. Now, tryptophan can be found in both animal proteins and plant proteins, but animal proteins are richer than it and more easily absorbed compared to the one that's found in plant proteins. Now, tryptophan, being this essential amino acid, contributes to serotonin synthesis, meaning that it plays a big role when it comes to producing this hormone and making sure that it is in abundance in the system. The sources, of course, are protein in nature. That is, you can find it in turkey, you can find it in eggs, cheese, and then nuts and seeds, and also things like pumpkin and green leafy vegetables also contain it in little amounts, but essentially this is found in proteins. And then we have whole carbohydrates. The function of carbohydrates, of course, is energy for the body, providing fuel for the body. Now we are talking about whole carbohydrates, or let's call them complex carbohydrates. These are carbohydrates that contribute to energy stability in the body. Because the problem with simple carbohydrates is the fact that they contribute to glucose spikes. The body converts it into glucose at a very high speed, contributing to spikes. But for complex carbohydrates, the body produces glucose from it slowly, pole pole, ensuring that you have sustained energy over a long period of time, instead of you just having these glucose spikes in the system, which now contributes to other chronic illnesses like diabetes and all these other chronic illnesses in the body. So you don't want to do that. You want to eat carbohydrates that will contribute to your mood being stabilized in such a way that you have sustained energy throughout the day. Those spikes are the ones that contribute to mood destabilization and stuff. Oh, the sources include 100% grains and legumes, fruits and vegetables. For fruits, we have those, it's better for fruits that have more fiber content. And the next and the last one in the list is magnesium. Magnesium is this mineral that is contributes to hundreds of reactions in the body, including nerve transmission and managing the body's stress response. Magnesium for you. I think it I think magnesium is the king when it comes to this whole list because of how essentially it works to ensure that your stress response is better. Where can we get these sources? We can find sources of magnesium include green leafy vegetables, again, nuts, seeds, legumes, and whole grains. So these are the key consideration. When it comes to the gut-brain axis, we want to make sure that whatever we are eating, contributes to this process moving on seamlessly. After learning that most of the body serotonin is produced in your gut, what we are going to do is to ensure that the food that we are eating is either promoting the growth of these good bacteria in our gut, or the food you're eating should not make the environment hostile for this good bacteria. For foods that contribute to the growth of these good bacteria include prebiotics, probiotics, and fiber. For the probiotics, of course, we know these fermented foods. We have yogurt, maziwa mala, and other fermented types of food. And then the next thing to consider is balance is key. The overall pattern of a diet is more important compared to one single nutrient. As from that list that I have just mentioned, you've heard that nuts and seeds are appearing in oil, and then legumes are also appearing in almost all. So you may tell yourself, "Okay, because I want to have a stable mood, or I just want to have good mental health in general, my meals will only include nuts and seeds." No, balance is key because all these processes in the body rely on different types of nutrients. If you concentrate more on your digestive system and you don't concentrate on your respiratory system, of course, you're going to have a problem. That's why it's important that you have a balance in all this. And then professional guidance, especially when it comes to treating mental health, it's good that you are guided through this whole process because, as I said earlier, I have never interacted with antidepressant medication or any medication that is given to people with mental health issues. I really don't know what is contained there, in what dosage, and so before you, especially if you are treating or you are managing any mental health disorder, it's important that you work with professionals, work with your mental health practitioner and also your nutritionist. Meaning, whatever your nutritionist advises you from his or her point of view is going to reflect on what the information you get from your medical report. So it's good that you make sure that professional guidance is observed. Don't just jump on a trend or don't just self-prescribe something when some of these mental health disorders or illnesses actually need keen and technical professional guidance so that to make sure that you are walked through this process effectively. And now this one lands us to the last bit of the video, which are the practical tips, because after all has been said and done, you need these tips that are going to act as assignments for you to make sure that you are eating for emotional balance. The very first thing you're going to do is you're going to start your mornings gently. For instance, if you decide to go and have the lemon tea, lemongrass tea, the way I usually do, don't go ahead and have too much sugar in it because you cancel the whole benefits that come with taking that drink that you've resorted to take. So ensure that you also go slow on sugar when it comes to you having your drink in the morning so that you just don't cancel the whole benefit of having that kind of tea that you're using. And then the next thing is eating consistently. Skipping meals is among those things that will contribute to you having energy dips during the day because depending on your schedule and what you're doing, it will call forth for you to have your meal in a certain way. For instance, athletes, manual workers, people in Mujengo or people in construction sites, Mujengo, or people who are tilling the land, These people have different needs because of the demands that their jobs are having on their body. So because if you are on heavy duty, then it's important that you have foods that will contribute to that enough energy to help you finish whatever you are doing. And then you need to stay hydrated. Dehydration actually affects your focus and mood. So make sure that you have your little water bottle wherever you are. Take those sips of water throughout the day to make sure that your body is not dehydrated. As you say, anytime you are thirsty, it's already a late response to you feeling like taking water. So make sure that you just have enough fluids, enough water in the body. And someone may say that, okay, I'm taking more of, let's say, lemon tea, or I'm having juices, or I'm having smoothies. Of course, they are fluids. They have some water content, but it's good when you just take water in itself. But again, you can also include these other fluids in your diet. And then snack wisely. From my list, I feel like nuts and seeds are very good options when it comes to snacking, also including things like yogurt and fruits. These are healthier options when it comes to snacking. So swap instead of you taking junk foods that you are used to when it comes to snacking, maybe take something like nuts, take something like seeds that are available to you according to your like and preference. This will contribute to you nourishing your body, and not those things that you are also going to put a heavy burden to your gut. And then the last thing is to limit stimulants. When it comes to mood, if you overdo the stimulants, yeah, things to do with tea and caffeine and other energy, tea, caffeine, and other energy drinks. If you overdo in these ones contribute to you overstimulating the nervous system. And a stimulated nervous system will automatically cause anxiety in your body, which is translated as unstable mood in the system. So don't overstimulate, don't overdo when it comes to stimulants. In fact, someone said that when it comes to coffee, it's good that you don't do coffee past 3 p.m. This is an area that will unpack when it comes to beverages. How often should we have coffee, and what amounts are good for our health, and if we can have it in moderation, or we should just scrape it off from our diet. And the last thing is to ensure that we need balance in this whole thing. Don't overconsume one nutrient and then underconsume the other. All these nutrients are important in our body, only that we have those ones that directly impact certain outcomes in the system. But make sure that you have a balanced diet, make sure that your menu is balanced and diverse, to make sure that you're also getting different nutrients from different types of food. And now, here is our emotional reflection. The calm that you bring in your plate is actually the same calm that you bring in your mind. So if your plate screams calmness, then your body is also going to be calm because of the state in which our body is. We know that if you treat your body with love, if you give it kindness, you give it care, it's also going to make you feel a certain way. You see that feeling of you feel so happy, balanced, energized, refreshed. That is a way your body is telling you that I'm loving it this way. But if your body is tired, feeling so heavy, yeah, it's like you've been punched in some way. That is also a way of your body trying to tell you that something is not going on well. And sometimes it's just because of how your diet looks like. So this week, let's go and make sure that when we look at our plates, there is calm written on it instead of chaos written in it. I believe that calmness would come in terms of nuts and seeds, whole grains, legumes, proteins, hydration, making sure that we balance the whole thing so that we don't overconsume and underconsume certain things. And all this woven together will bring us into a nurtured state that will contribute to our thriving and eventually rising to the best versions of ourselves, because that's what we want to do. We don't want to experience life as people in a sorry state. Yeah, we want to be nurtured first and then thrive, and automatically we are going to rise in whatever we are doing. So if this has also spoken to your soil, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and also not forgetting that you follow me on my other social media platforms. I have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, where some content may not land here, but if you follow me, especially on Instagram, you're going to get more and more intimate things. Yeah, you'll find more and more beautiful content and beautiful things going on there during that time. So until next time, goodbye and wishing you all the best.